Now, first off, my usual talks, they usually start a little bit earlier than the 60s because there's big differences in how fashion goes through the eras, and the 60s is a big time of change. But I'm going to start with this one. It's an early 60s dress, and it is in many ways reminiscent of the 1950s, where you've got a little 50s fitted bodice and then you have a fullish skirt. The 50s are very well known for like very full skirts with maybe petticoats and crinolines underneath and tiny little waists. It's all about the hourglass. But by the time you get into the 60s, the silhouette isn't quite so structured. The waists might sit a bit higher. The skirts aren't as full. This one just has some little box pleats in here. And instead of having little darts, it's actually got like a little seam, a little princess seam, which is a very distinctive 60s style. I generally call these cocktail dresses or evening dresses. And one of the things I love about this era is that there's a very big difference between the day wear and the evening wear. The day wear will be little cotton dresses or polyester, and the evening wear will be luxury fabrics. Yeah. And this is one of the things we've really lost over the years, is that nowadays we want one dress to take us everywhere, to whatever occasion we go to and to whatever time of year it is. And of course what we end up with is something that doesn't actually fit for any purpose at all. You know, like something like this, it's a very evening dress. You wouldn't wear this out shopping. You wouldn't wear it out to breakfast or anything like that. Now, like a lot of dresses of this era, if it's high at the front, it'll be lower at the back. Now, this particular material is a very 60s fabric. It's a lame brocade, and it would have been a very expensive material, and it's quite a delicate one as well. This has little roses printed on it, and it's got little matching lining as well. And a lady would have worn this with long gloves, maybe sort of some sparkly silver shoes, stockings of course, a petticoat, yep, and a nice necklace to show it off. So that's our first dress.
Is that a back zip on there or a side zip?
It's a back zip, yeah. Now this is one of the things. It's a big. What I love to do is I love to date dresses. Every dress has so many clues about it that will tell you how old it is and where it was made. This is a style, it's a very simple style that you see at various times, but the zipper is one of the things that dates it. In the 40s and 50s, most dresses had side zippers.
Side zips, yeah.
Exactly. You do see some dresses in the 40s that have back zippers, little back zippers, but generally they're side zippers. But by the time you come into the 60s, it's mainly back zippers. Now this dress, I don't know if you can see, it says Rose Chong there. Rose Chong's a costume hire shop in Gertrude Street, near where my shop is. And as a trained theatre person myself, I'm very aware that theatres and costume hire shops often have a lot of genuine vintage in them, because it's much cheaper, especially in the past, to buy the real thing than to fake it. And especially when you have materials like this that we don't make anymore, yeah, it's much cheaper. So Rose has been around since the 70s. And a few years ago she decided to kind of move into semi-retirement, and she decided to reduce her stock levels, and I bought about 3,000 dresses from her. Yeah. Yeah, I love Rose, she's wonderful, and because she's been collecting for so long, she had some really amazing things. So some of the things, there's another outfit here that I bought from her as well. But yes, you can imagine. As I said, I've been collecting for quite a while. Before I opened my shop, I had about 300 pieces in my collection. I now have about 7,000. And so to say I bought 3,000 from Rose Chong it seems like an awful lot, but that's actually only one buy. I think I've bought from her about 5 times. But now she's in semi-retirement, it probably won't happen so much.
Who was the original maker?
Oh, okay. Now this was made by a Melbourne company called Leone. Yep. Now that's the other thing. I like local fashion. I like Australian fashion, and I buy almost all of my stock locally. So I love having. There'll be quite a few local labels here that you probably recognise as we go through. Now this one, it's got SSW on here. Now, Jasmine, do you know what SSW stands for?
No.
Do you know what it means?
I'm sure it means something meaningful.
Well, it does if you like the size, if you like the
it's the size, exactly. That's it. This is one of the things I love about the sizing systems in the past, and it's one of the great ways that you can date something, is that we had one sizing system in Australia until about 1966, 67, and then we had a different system. So up until 66, we had this system, with SSW. So whenever you see those letters on there, you know that you're dealing with something that's pre-67. Now, one of the things I love is the way they starts with W, which W stands for woman. And a woman, a W, is about between a 12 and a 14. And I like this idea that that's how a woman should be. She should be 12 to 14. And then you go up or you go down from there. So down from woman you have SW, small woman, and then SSW, which is this one, and then XSSW, extra small, small woman, which is about a size 4. And then you have extra, extra small, small woman, which nobody can fit into anymore. And then it goes up from W. It goes XW, which is about a 14 to a 16, and that's extra woman. And then from XW you have OS, which I think must be oversized, and that's about an 18. And you also have SOS, which I can't decide if that's super oversized or maybe small oversized. Short oversized I think it might mean, because they tend to be the petites, those ones. So I think once you get over to a certain stage, your height sort of matters a bit more. Can I help you?
What length is that dress? Is it mid-calf or?
That would be full.
Well, this is a full length. This is a full length, and that's another very distinctive thing about the early 60s. Is an evening gown is pretty much full length. Yeah. Now, it's actually quite rare to get these in their original length because they're quite often shortened. So as we come through, especially in the 80s, vintage came back in and we chopped a lot of these dresses. So